Welcome to the Jake Talks Chelsea channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the top 10 transfers Chelsea have made in the last 10 years. Chelsea have had plenty of success in this period under two different ownerships, both known for spending money at a pretty high level. And whilst of course there has been a fair chunk of failed transfers, there's certainly some that have worked out. So let's get in to the top 10. Before we do that though, let's take a look at a few honourable mentions that don't quite make the cut. First, we've got to point out Kai Havertz, who has of course now moved to rivals Arsenal and was quite diversive in his performances on the pitch, but of course he scored that all-important goal in the Champions League final, so definitely deserves a mention. And speaking of that Champions League run, Edouard Mendy had a stormer of a season in the net for Chelsea, and if he stayed longer, might find himself a little bit higher up this list. And then we have two Chelsea legends, Cesar Azpilicueta, who was at the club for years and really did help the team in many ways and would of course be right near the top of this list if it wasn't for the fact that he just misses out on the 10-year boundary set for this video. And that also does rule out Eden Hazard, of course a mercurial talent and one of Chelsea's best ever players who just misses out because of when he was signed. And we start off my top 10 with Pedro, one of Chelsea's most underrated transfers in recent years in my opinion. He signed in 2015 from Barcelona, where he was already of course a legend. He was a hard-working winger who always put in a shift and scored some crucial goals for the club and was vital in the league win under Antonio Conte in 2016. The only player from the last couple of years to make this list is 9th place Cole Palmer. Now give it a few years and I'm sure he will rise higher and higher through the list, but so far, one season under his belt at Chelsea, he was excellent and was really the only bright spark in a pretty disappointing year overall for the club, and without him, Chelsea definitely wouldn't have got European football. At this point, Manchester City are surely regretting selling him, but either way, if he keeps these performances up over the next few years, he'll definitely rise up this list, and who knows where his Chelsea legacy will end up. Moving up the list into 8th position, we have the left wing back talent Marcos Alonso, who of course was crucial in the title win under Antonio Conte. With Victor Moses on the other flank, Alonso was fantastic, scoring goals, creating chances, and even scoring a great free kick every now and then. He joined from Serie A club Fiorentina and went on to be one of the best fullbacks in the league in the few years that he was there. In 7th place, I've gone for Gervinho. The Italian midfielder, when he joined under Maurizio Sarri, was almost seen as a scapegoat for some poor performances during that era. Having signed alongside Sarri from Napoli, a lot was expected of him in playing this beautiful, expansive football that everyone expected at Chelsea, and it didn't quite work out that way, and Gervinho for a while wasn't very highly thought of, but give it a few years and this man would then be crucial to Chelsea, helping them lift a Champions League title, the heartbeat of their midfield. He even got to the point where he was being considered to win the Ballon d'Or. Of course, he has now moved to Arsenal, but I don't think that should affect his legacy all that much. He was a crucial player during his time at the club, and without him, I don't think Chelsea would have secured that second Champions League trophy. Speaking of players that helped lift that Champions League trophy though, Antonio Rudiger has to make the list, and he takes our 6th place spot. When he originally signed from Roma, there was a few question marks around him, and before Thomas Tuchel came in, it looked like his career at Chelsea was down and out. But in no time after the German coach landed at the club, Rudiger found himself as the main man in Chelsea's defence, a rock-solid component in the back line, a real leader. He loved taking a long shot and trying to get Stamford Bridge off their feet, and whilst many Chelsea fans would have loved to have seen him stay for the foreseeable future, he has now made his move to Real Madrid and he's doing very well there. So obviously a fantastic player and one Chelsea were lucky to have for the years we had him. Moving into the top 5 now, and we have the Brazilian winger Willian. Joining from Russia for 30 million, Willian was a consistent performer during his 7-year stint at the club. He contributed to 2 Premier League title wins in 2014 and 2016. He was hard-working, had great dribbling ability, but of course he was known for his free kicks. I particularly remember him in that season where we weren't doing very well in between the 2 title wins, where he was probably the only consistent performer. He's a Chelsea icon, he scored some crucial goals, and of course he loved to score against Tottenham. And in 4th place, I'm going for the Spanish maestro Cesc Fabregas, the former Arsenal and Barcelona Barcelona player, joined in Jose Mourinho's second stint as Chelsea boss, and straight away his vision and leadership from the midfield proved vital for Chelsea in that season and the seasons that followed. He got some crucial goals, but of course he got plenty of assists, had a great link up with Diego Costa and Eden Hazard, and he made Chelsea a dominant attacking force in those years where they did win the league. It's hard to find a player that can be loved by both the Arsenal and Chelsea fan base, but I think Cesc Fabregas is one of the few who could. But now we move in to the top three, and this is a personal favourite signing of mine. It's the Brazilian defender Thiago Silva. He was signed on a free transfer from PSG during Frank Lampard's era at the club, and when he joined there was a lot of question marks regarding his age and if he could play to a high level. PSG had let him go because they deemed him past his best, but a few years later Thiago Silva was lifting the Champions League with Chelsea Football Club, and even a few years on from that the man was still playing as one of the oldest players in Premier League history, always putting in top performances and never really letting his level slip. His free transfer was an incredible piece of business for the club, and even though he wasn't here for too long, I think he's already gone down as a Chelsea legend. Moving into second place though, where I've gone for a Chelsea forward, it's of course Diego Costa. Chelsea have struggled in recent years to find goal scorers on a regular basis. Other than Drogba, there haven't been many that can really do it, but Diego Costa was one of those. This man was a nightmare for any Premier League club that he faced, any defence that he faced. Opposition fans hated him, but Chelsea fans loved him. He loved the dark arts, but he loved scoring goals too. His time at Chelsea came to an unfortunate end when he was forced out of the club during the Antonio Kante era, but Costa will always go down as a Chelsea legend, a goal scorer through and through, and without him, who knows, Chelsea might have been 2 titles to the lesser. But now we move in to the number 1 position, where I thought there was no real debate for me. It has to be N'Golo Kante. The diminutive French midfielder had a blinder of a season for Leicester and helped produce one of football's biggest miracles in winning the league title. He then moved to Chelsea for just over £30 million and settled straight in at the London club. He put in performance after performance and didn't just help them to the title under Antonio Conte, but was vital in every season from that point. And during Chelsea's second Champions League win, this guy put in man of the match performance after man of the match performance, proving to be the best player on the pitch in matches against the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City. He then went on to win the World Cup too, and his signing to Chelsea has to go down as not just one of Chelsea's best ever transfers, but one of the most impactful transfers in modern football history. But there you go, that's my 10 best Chelsea transfers in the last 10 years. Let me know who you would have had in the list and who you would have had as your number 1. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel for more Chelsea videos. I'll see you next time.